What's going on YouTube? Florida Man Knives here, and I am about to unbox my all-time Grail knife. I could not be more excited, honestly, and of course by the title of the video you already know, it is going to be the Chris Reeve Sebenza, specifically the Large Sebenza 31. Now, my Grail knife has just been the Sebenza for, honestly, over 10 years now at this point. The Sebenza 21, of course, was my Grail for a long time. I did always want the large version, and then when they did release the 31, of course, that did become the new Grail. And then when they announced that they would be doing it in S45VN, I decided to wait. So it is going to be in here, in this pile. Oh, wow. So here we go, we got that's a really nice knife joy sticker. That is awesome. I have not received that one yet. I have seen it in pictures. And going ahead, just pulling this box out of here. Of course, you got your typical, there it is. Wow, yeah, I was saying you got the typical knife joy little letter there. And man, I cannot wait to get this thing unboxed. I'm honestly so excited, I'm almost nervous. I've wanted this knife for so long. If you are watching my channel for the first time, this is going to be hands down the most expensive knife that I own and the most expensive knife that I have handled. Again, CPM S45VN. This is going to be the new Sebenza and the new steel that they are using. Here we are, Chris Reeve. You can see the details. Let's go ahead and get this thing unboxed. This is just really cool. Sorry, this is my first Chris Reeve knife, of course, so I'm just really impressed with the packaging. I will definitely be featuring this more in detail here in a couple of minutes after I do open this thing up and unwrap it, but man, I am so excited, holy moly. All right. And there it is. That is just so cool. All right, so it actually does have a little scratch on it right there. Out of the box, already noticing it. And you know what? I'm not upset because this is going to be a user for sure, and there is no scratch on this side. Man, that is just beautiful. Blade centering is gonna be pretty much spot on. Wow, I am just so happy right now, so impressed. And let's go ahead and open this thing up. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that slowly. Wow, that is just insane. Holy crap, I am just blown away. And I am so happy I got the Large Sebenza because, man, the ergonomics on this thing are incredible. And I am definitely understanding, of course, what the hype is all about. As I stated, this has been my Grail knife for over 10 years. And, you know, in my opinion, is pretty much the epitome of production knives. Of course, there are many knives out there nowadays that are more expensive than this. But the Chris Reeve Sebenza, if you're a knife guy, you know what this is. And man, I could not be happier. Wow. I just am so impressed, so blown away right now. I'm speechless, honestly. So let's go ahead and get into the video a little bit more. You are going to have, of course, S45VN steel, as I stated. This is going to be hardened to 60 to 62 on the Rockwell scale. And this is also, you can see, just really beautifully stonewashed. I did get the standard drop point blade, which is what I've always wanted. You know, they do have the Insingo. You can get a Tanto blade. They do have the crazy grinds on the Tanto. You know, this is the same price as the Unumzon. You know, there's a lot of other options from Chris Reeve, but I have just always wanted the plain Jane standard Large Sebenza with, you know, no details, nothing special on it, and just this really beautiful titanium. And man, I am so impressed. I can't wait to carry this thing and start using it. This crown spine is just incredible. I mean, the fit and finish on this thing is just incredible. You know, as I stated, this is the most expensive knife I've ever handled. Definitely the best quality knife I've ever handled. And I just am so blown away. This is my all-time Grail knife. Man, I can't believe I actually have it in hand. I did order it, of course, as I said, from Knife Joy. Big shout out to them for announcing on Instagram when they're going to be restocking these. I've been waiting. They did do the small Sebenza first, and then I knew that this was going to be coming shortly after, and I was lucky enough to get it. I definitely will be selling some of my other knives, of course, because this is very expensive if you're not familiar with it. But for me, it is definitely going to be worth it. As I stated, my all-time Grail knife. So you are going to have an overall length of 8.4 inches. Your blade length is going to be right at about 3.6 inches. Blade thickness is going to be really ideal for EDC, 0.12 inches. You can see that grind right there is fantastic. And this is just incredible. Your handle length is going to be 4.79 inches. And the handle thickness on each of these slabs of titanium is going to be 0.15 inches. And the titanium is going to be 6A L 4V titanium. Sorry, it took me a minute to get that out. I'm just still admiring this thing both through the camera and looking around my phone. It does have the anodized titanium right there for the thumb stud, and of course the back spacer, and you can see that just looks sweet. Then you can see right there actually a little bit of markings, and the lanyard, of course. Obviously it's featuring a Reeve integral lock. And now I do want to go over a couple of changes that they made from the 21 to the 31. Now, this is my first Chris Reeve knife that I've ever handled, but you know, you can definitely go check out some videos on YouTube as I did. Basically, there are 3 big changes. So the first one is going to be right in here. Let's see, you can see sticking out a little bit is going to be a ceramic ball interface right here on the titanium integral frame lock. And the reason for that is because the ceramic is going to last a little bit longer than the titanium will. It won't wear down as fast as you use it over time. Not that anyone has ever had any issues or complained about that, I don't think, but you know, just an improvement that they've made. Another one, of course, is that you'll notice they removed the hole out of the scale right there, which I definitely prefer. I think this just is so incredible. I mean, I remember when I first, honestly, this is kind of funny. When I first saw the Chris Reeve Sebenza years ago, you know, I was very young at that time, relatively speaking, and inexperienced in the knife community, and I was like, man, why is that knife so expensive when it looks so basic? And of course, as I got older, you know, I came to realize the reasons behind that. And now I just think it is honestly a gorgeous knife. It's got pretty much the perfect blade shape for EDC purposes, EDC tasks, and the handles, you know, while very simple, are honestly, I can now say, extremely comfortable ergonomically. That cutout right there is perfect for your index. I do have extra large hands, so for reference, or extra large depending on the glove size, but you can see, I mean, I definitely have a little bit of extra space down there on the handles, and man, this is just fantastic. And then the third biggest difference between the 21 and the 31 is going to be the pocket clip placement. So you can see that it is actually offset right there to be on this side of the lock face on the scale. And there's a couple of reasons for that. So originally they always had it perfectly parallel to the rest of the knife, and it was strictly on the lock bar insert. portion of the scale, and so that's gonna be a negative in a couple of ways. First off, it's of course going to be applying pressure, so when you go to open the knife, it might be a little bit more difficult in theory. And then second off, this is not necessarily a negative on the other side, but more of a positive with this particular clip, is that they angled it this way, which is going to be beneficial when carrying it in the pocket, because it will just pivot the knife a little bit further into the seam of your jeans, and that way when you are reaching your hand in the pocket, it'll just be a little bit more out of the way. And I just cannot wait to get this thing in the pocket and carry it. And definitely I'm going to break it in. You can see I cannot flick this open, and some of your hardcore Chris Reeve guys are going to be like, you should never flick it open for whatever reason. I don't know. I definitely will probably do that if I can when I do break this thing in. And you can see right there with that little snail trail scratch, this is going to be Idaho made. So made in Boise, Idaho, actually, which is obviously a really cool attribute of this knife. And that is, of course, partially what you are paying for when it comes to the price. It being, made in America with pretty much the best fit and finish and tolerances that you can get, the best quality of materials, and the best heat treatment, arguably, you could say, I would imagine, for a particular steel. When Chris Reeve decides that they're going to use a steel, it was originally S30V, then they went to S35, and now they're pushing to S45. I mean, they stick with it, and there's a reason for that, and I'm definitely interested to see how this thing holds up. I know a lot of people might complain about their grind. I personally would imagine that it'll be sufficient for my purposes. Definitely shaving sharp out of the box, razor sharp, and just a beautiful shape on this blade in my opinion. So I'm just so blown away. I can't believe I'm holding this knife, and I can't wait to use it, to be honest with you. The word Sebenza, a fun fact, does mean work in the Zulu language, which is a native language in South Africa, excuse me. And that is actually going to be in tribute to Chris Reeve himself, as he is from South Africa. And the Sebenza is a purpose-built knife to be used, to be worked. It's in all environments, all across the world. And I remember, an interview with him, and then his son as well. He carries it on perfectly and really explains things very well, that whether it be someone in the north dealing with snow or someone in the Florida Everglades. When they said that, I definitely, of course, my ears perked up. They're like, they want this knife to be used and, not have to worry about corrosion on anything, and not have to worry about it ever breaking, of course. And man, I could not be more happy finally having this in hand. This is just incredible. So I am going to do a couple of comparisons, but before I get to that, I'm honestly going to go through the rest of the box, because I'm genuinely curious as what the rest of the packaging is. Again, this is my first Chris Reeve knife. I have, of course, watched videos online and on YouTube, a lot of the other channels, but this one right here, as I stated, is the Large Sebenza 31 S45VN with drop point blade. And there we go. That is the date of this particular card. This is the guarantee. Here is the assembly and parts, which is really cool. And there we go. Some care notes. That is really sweet. And let's see what's in the other side of this thing right here. Oh, that's also pretty neat. Looks like they've got some history on the Sebenza, or Chris Reeve in particular, but yeah, this is definitely impressive. You definitely get what you pay for across the board with the packaging and overall presentation. I definitely will be doing this registration. I am sure I'll look more in detail at what that is off camera, and once I've quit handling this knife for a little bit, I'm just probably going to be fidgeting with this as much as possible. And then in the package, you do also get their care kit, which is going to have their version of a Loctite basically, and then their grease and wrench. They do have a couple of other things that they make that I will be featuring on this channel, such as a slip pouch for the Sebenza that is made of leather. But oh man, I cannot wait to carry this and start using it. And as I stated, I'm going to do a couple of quick comparisons. So I'll go ahead and get this really nice big polishing cloth out of the way. And you saw that I opened it up with the Spyderco Swish Bowie, a Knifejoy exclusive. And everything that I've read basically stated that the Swish Bowie was the closest thing that Spyderco ever made to the Sebenza. So I will definitely be able to experience that firsthand now. And of course, we'll be doing a comparison video directly at some point in the future, but you can see that overall the Sebenza is going to be a little bit longer as far as the handle and the blade length. Cutting edge is a little bit longer as well. And man, I just cannot believe that I have this thing in my hands. I couldn't be happier, and I don't know, I'm getting speechless here. I was, insanely excited opening this particular knife, and looking down now, I've got the Sebenza next to it, and that definitely has peaked as far as my excitement levels. It's my all-time Grail. That's it. That's the reason why I'm just so blown away. Here is going to be a Spyderco Paramilitary 2 for comparison's sake. This one does have blades we love, titanium scales, and a pocket clip. And this is actually, if you watched my Big Sad video, this is the knife that I dropped on my Swish Bowie that yielded these two scratches right here. So this is a user anyways, but still I was very disappointed. So I'm being very careful here, holding all of these titanium knives. But man, 3 great, fantastic knives, of course. And the Sebenza is made in the USA, as I stated, Boise, Idaho, which I couldn't be happier with. I mean, honestly, the only thing that would make it better would be if it was made in Florida. And I love that they have the blue accents that they always have. They do have, I believe, I don't know what size Torx screws those are going to be. Oh, not Torx. Excuse me, that's a regular wrench, but they do include that tool in the box. A regular Allen key, I should state. And man, that is just incredible. I'm just so blown away. It's everything I'd ever hoped it would be. The ergonomics are insanely fantastic, honestly. The jimping on this spine is exactly how I expected it to be. It looks pretty minimal, but man, it is very grippy. And that crown spine on the rest of the blade is just incredible. The ergonomics on this thing is just, it's perfect. It's really a pretty thin knife this way, as you can see, and that definitely yields to a better position in the hand, at least in my opinion, especially for a broader range of people. I mean, I definitely would be okay if this knife was a little bit larger this way as far as the pure ergonomics of it. But man, I love how slim this is, because I know this is going to be a dream in the pocket. And the last thing I did really want to check, meant to do this earlier in the video when I was going over the specs, is going to be the weight. And let's see, so I don't scratch it right away, even though it already has a scratch, we'll zero this thing out. And let's see, 4.69 ounces. So definitely, not the lightest of EDC knives. You can see compared to the Swish Bowie, for example, definitely is going to be heavier, but it is a bigger knife. And man, I don't care at all. I can't believe I have a Sebenza in my hand. Man, I can't wait to carry this thing and use this S45VN especially. Man, I don't know if I'll ever purchase another Chris Reeve knife or not. You know, I know a lot of people, when they do end up getting one, they usually end up getting a second or third or fourth. But this is, as I stated, you know, always been my all-time Grail knife. And to finally have it in my possession really, honestly, just satisfies a major lifetime goal for myself. You know, just a long-term dream. And really, especially with this newer version, with the newer steel, you know, I love the improvements that they made. My one negative, I suppose, would be the pocket clip, but honestly, we will see how I like this pocket clip. Definitely, you know, not the most, man, that's pretty loose as far as the tension goes, to be honest with you. I was surprised. And it's pretty deep in the pocket, it looks like, so we will see. Of course, you know, they do make deep carry pocket clips, you know, some of the third parties do, such as Lynch, Casey Lynch, that is, but man, this is just so beautiful. I love this stonewash blade. It's everything it appeared to be in the pictures and videos and everything that I've seen for so many years. And to finally have one in hand, I honestly cannot even express really how it makes me feel. Only negative really about this knife for myself is, as I stated, I will definitely be selling some of my other knives now, specifically probably a couple of my Spydercos. I just, you know, at the same time, I'll be carrying this a lot now too, so, you know, I really only am going to be keeping knives that I'll be using, and this will definitely be one of them. And this will definitely be the most expensive knife in my collection, I'm sure, for quite a while. Man, I honestly just can't believe it that I have one in my own possession, in my collection. And that is really going to be it for this video. So if you've made it this far into the video, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate everyone watching. I would love to hear your comments on this knife. You know, the Sebenza in particular, and then, you know, any Chris Reeve knives, if you've had any experience with them. You know, is this your Grail knife? You know, it's the Grail knife for a lot of people for sure, and it certainly was, you know, about 7 years ago especially. And man, I just am so happy, and as I stated, you know, really appreciate everyone watching, and man, definitely will be doing quite a few more videos on this knife for sure. Florida Man Knives here. Thanks.